afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another episode of SIMA Impact Chronicles. Today, I have another exciting investing company of one of our funds, executive from Mobile Power UK. So I have Luke Burras with me. He's the energetic COO of and co-founder of Mobile Power. He comes with strong project management experience. He has substantial experience leading complex capital projects, including managing global operations, teams, and budgets. His experience includes managing infrastructure for a large chemical manufacturing site, a waste-to-energy gasification project, and coordinating the fastest ever test tube to market for an agrochemical product at Syngenta. At Mobile Power, Luke is responsible for business growth, development, and delivering Mobile Power's operational plan. So without further ado, let me bring him on. Hey, Luke, welcome to SIMA Impact Chronicles. How are you doing?
Hi, Vivek. How's it going?
All good, all good. Just to give you a brief, Luke, this is a show, this is like a video series where we bring on exciting folks like you who are doing fantastic work in your own areas and across the globe, to be honest, and, having an association with SIMA in some capacity with some fund of ours. And, we ask questions about your company, the kind of work you do, etc. So if you're ready, I have a set of questions ready to be shot at you. If you're ready, we can start.
I don't like the idea of being shot, but let's go for it. Yeah, that sounds fun.
All right. So the first question I want to know about Mobile Power's journey. So if you can provide an overview of Mobile Power's journey in transforming energy and transport across Sub-Saharan Africa through your innovative and affordable energy solutions.
Great. I'll try and keep the answer to this question under 10 hours. But no, roughly speaking, Mobile Power was formed quite early. So almost, well, in fact, 10 years ago now, when our chairman and one of our other co-founders was doing a lot of work in Southeast Asia, Sub-Saharan Africa, and was working on a particular project that really highlighted to him the debilitating effects of not having access to the simplest power. And basically people couldn't get hold of their mobile phones. It was almost impossible to get anything done in rural areas. So Jono came back and met with a few of us and said, look, we should be able to solve this problem. And around that time, solar home systems, which is where you take a solar panel and a battery, connect it up to a SIM card and allow people to own that gradually over time on a lease model, were really beginning to take root. But I think Jono wanted to attack a slightly different problem. He was recognizing that a lot of Sub-Saharan African customers are below the extreme poverty line, less than $2 a day. And perhaps, energy is really important, but it's not as important to them as food, healthcare, education. So really, Jono identified the need to give people access to energy in a way that they could do so with the money they had in their pocket that day, without a high barrier to entry, and also without a long-term commitment and without any debt.
Right.
So Jono and various other ones of us worked on it really part-time, evenings and weekends and here, there, and everywhere, up until 2016, 2017, when we had our first successful pilot in Sierra Leone, actually. And really we could see that this was going to work, have a big impact on the continent, and ultimately be a successful business. So at that point, people started quitting their jobs and diving in, and really since then we've grown very quickly. We now reach across 4 different countries. About 300,000 people are getting energy in various different forms at various different magnitudes from Mobile Power in an affordable way. I'm sure we'll get into a bit more of that later on.
Right. Absolutely exciting start to the questions. Right. So let's talk about the MOPO Hubs, right? How has Mobile Power evolved and grown since its inception? And what inspired the focus on providing solar-powered MOPO Hubs, as it is known, across the region?
Yeah. So we should probably start by just talking about what a MOPO Hub is. So
yes.
A MOPO Hub is a solar charging station, effectively, except from the solar charging goes into charging MOPO batteries, just like this one, which is our MOPO 50 battery, which is our smallest offering, or like this one, which is our MOPO Max battery, which is a larger offering. Those batteries get charged up by the solar at those hubs and then rented out via a local agent network. So agents are able to activate these batteries using offline Internet of Things, basically, and rent these directly to customers. The customers are able to pay in cash, but we collect mobile money directly from the agents. So it gives us a really traceable and scalable way of operating a large agent network. The customers can come to the hub and directly rent from an agent, or in a lot of cases, the agents traveling around and meeting customers in their homes, in their towns, in their villages, and renting to them out and about. And so that the hub network is basically the core of the charging of MOPO solutions and getting those batteries into the hands of customers. Really, the battery is interesting, but it's a kind of a conduit for delivering energy to customers, all the way from sunshine into what they need into their hands.
Right. What an innovative concept. Well, it's a very interesting concept. I've been talking to several entrepreneurs like yourself on this, and it's very exciting for me to hear about such innovative thought behind it and behind such an impactful cause as well. Right. So my next question is about, I want to hear from you some key milestones and achievements that Mobile Power has accomplished in its mission to enable net zero future in all of Sub-Saharan Africa.
Yeah, no, that's a great question, and I think if you think chronologically about the history of Mobile Power, we've always been quite conservative. Sub-Saharan Africa is an incredibly exciting place to operate, but it also comes with its own unique sets of risk from a business perspective. So I think if you turn up in Sub-Saharan Africa and expect to behave like some kind of Silicon Valley startup, you quite quickly come unstuck. I think a wise mentor said to me a few years ago, he said, in Sub-Saharan Africa, you don't want to be a unicorn. You don't want to be a billion-dollar company really quickly. You want to be a camel. I said, what do you mean by you want to be a camel? And he said, well, in Sub-Saharan Africa, you need to be able to ride out crises. And he was right. During the time we've been operating Sub-Saharan Africa, we've been through Ebola, we've been through COVID, we've been through various political changes and elections, and also inflationary events and currency problems and all of these things. And really, you have to design a business with all of that in mind. So we've always been quite conservative and keen to make sure we're hitting milestones that can stick rather than things that we just hit and then something changes. So the key things for us, we focused really hard on making sure that one single small hub location was profitable, that the unit economics functioned and worked really well before we launched a second hub. And then we made sure that we could get a whole region operating really well. And then we managed to scale right across Sierra Leone and show that at a country level, we could be profitable. And we have really strong margins at a country level across all of our countries now. Once we'd done that, we said, okay, let's go into the next country. We went to Liberia, which borders with Sierra Leone. For those who are not in Sub-Saharan Africa, it's a bit like running a business in Canada if you already run one in America, or running a business in Scotland if you already run one in the UK. It's similar, different but similar, and so we were able to do that and then reach profitability in that country as well. And then we said, right, these are two fantastic and beautiful countries, but they're quite small. Where can we go that gives us some real space to stretch our legs? So we chose Nigeria, which is, I think, the largest economy in Sub-Saharan Africa. We launched there a couple of years ago. That's now our largest location, which has been fantastic. And a lot of us have, for a long time, really wanted to go into the DRC. We see that as a fantastic business opportunity. And I think the ability to make huge impact on a large number of people's lives in DRC. So earlier this year, we launched in DRC, which has been fantastic. The results there are amazing. The local team have been absolutely outstanding. So that's in terms of countries. I think we're now well into our second product, the MOPO Max battery, this one here. And that's a real milestone for us, because I think we've gone from being able to provide customers with small portions of energy for phone charging, small DC TVs, into a realm where we're able to do full compounds, fridge freezers. This runs in our electric mobility platform, including the tuk-tuk behind me and the motorbikes. So moving up into larger chunks of energy has been a real milestone for us.
Right. All right. So let's talk. The journey has been exciting, right? So let me hear from you
That's
about
one
your
word for
approach.
it. Yeah, that's a good word.
So how does Mobile Power's approach to providing energy solution differ from traditional models? And if you can throw some light on what specific impact has been created in terms of access to affordable energy for homes, businesses, as well as electric transport, that'd be great.
Yeah, I think, traditional is an interesting word, isn't it? I think you can put this into two different pots. So I think we see our competitor as petrol. So we're trying to displace petrol generators. We're trying to displace petrol motorbikes and really usher a revolution in Sub-Saharan Africa into energy access for all, but through a renewable way. I think a lot of the countries that we operate in are spending, or have historically been spending, vast amounts on importing petrol, subsidizing petrol, not just for transport, but for people's daily energy needs. So we see our main competitor as petrol, and I think our tagline around here is that we're replacing petrol with sunshine. If you look at some of the markets that we're working in, they have abundant sunshine and fantastic ability to be able to install solar. So we really see ourselves as partnering with those local markets to bring about a revolution that means that sunshine is the core energy provider for those nations.
Right.
That's the first category, and I think the second category is probably what you're talking about, which is solar home systems, mini grids, grid connection in that way. And I think we partner with a lot of those organizations. We differ from them in that I think we've really aggressively gone after making sure that customers can get access to energy without any long-term commitment. So we're aggressive about keeping the cost low. We're aggressive about making sure that the commitment is for 24 hours only. If a customer comes and rents a battery from us for 24 hours, that's it. There's no commitment to rent on day 2 or day 3. You can rent a battery once a month. You can rent a battery 10 times a day. We're genuinely flexible at being able to reach right across those customers. And that's been amazing for our customers, but it's also great for us as a company, because what it means is that we can turn up in a city, a town, a village, and we can generally work with the entire economic spectrum of that area. So you might be working with somebody who's wealthier and can rent multiple MOPO Max batteries on every day. But you're also working with people who have lower incomes, and they might just want to rent one MOPO 50 once a week to charge their family's phone. And working right across that spectrum gives us really good reach into communities, but also drives our profitability as well. I think we're partnering with a lot of mini grid organizations, but we're able to come in with much lower cost per connection initially. And so I think what's particularly exciting about Mobile Power's model is being able to move people through those energy tiers. So we can come in and install a solar hub. It's kind of a wireless mini grid if you think about it. And that brings our capital costs really low. Over time, we collect really powerful data insights on pretty much every level of our business, but especially our customers. And so we're able to move them up through into the MOPO Max battery. And in time, I do think we'll be able to say, Mohammed, who lives 500 meters from the generation asset, solar hub, actually uses colossal amounts of energy because he's running a workshop or whatever he's doing. And we can show that with data from his rentals of MOPO Max. And then we'd be really excited about connecting him with a cable in a kind of traditional mini grid fashion. So I think we've always been very focused on customers, meeting the customer where they are today, not where we wish they would be in the future. And I think that's going to be really impactful, not just for Mobile Power, but for the entire energy access industry in moving people appropriately up the energy tiers. So we're hard after competing with petrol, and we're hard after partnering with our brothers and sisters who are trying to bring energy access to Sub-Saharan Africa with solar home systems and mini grids.
Right. Love the clarity of that. Right. So let me come to the reason why we are here. Obviously, you are associated with SIMA because of Energy Access Relief Fund. So my first question is about how has the Energy Access Relief Fund supported mobile power in achieving the goals and expanding its impact across Sub-Saharan Africa?
Yeah, I think in the early days of mobile power, which I still think we're in actually, we're 10 years in, but I see fantastic impact for mobile power over the next few decades. But particularly over the last few years, access to capital to really prove our market potential across multiple countries was the biggest block to growth.
Right.
I was hoping to be able to announce this today. We're not quite there, but we are just about to sign a major deal with a capital provider, a partnership effectively that will at least 10x our scale over the next few years. But certainly in the past, access to capital to launch new hubs, prove out new markets has been really crucial for us. And the Energy Access Relief Fund has been amazing with that. Access to capital at very reasonable rates, very understanding of what we're trying to achieve and the impact we're trying to grow with. So I think really across every single aspect of our business, that capital's made a difference. It's tempting sometimes to hype out and say, well, these are Energy Access Relief Fund hubs, or this is from this debt provider, or this is from this equity provider. But I think the reality of mobile power strategy is it's cohesive, it's joined together. So launching in Nigeria has to go together with launching in DRC in order to manage and balance political risks. For instance, launching MOPO 50 in partnership with MOPO Max goes together and is cohesive because it makes sense of being able to move the customer through the energy tiers. And so I think, SIMA in the provision of capital to mobile power is really every aspect of what mobile power has done in all of the countries and across all the product lines. So I would hazard that there's not an agent, there's not a customer, there's not a member of the team that hasn't been impacted in some way, shape, or form by that capital, as with all of the capital that I think people have partnered with mobile power have been able to provide.
Right. So I just want to ask some specific question related to the funding and things like that. If you do not have the numbers right with you, that's
Yeah.
absolutely fine.
Well, I can only count to 10. So if it's bigger than 10, I'm out. I need to get somebody else to help me.
That's absolutely fine. So my first question is, can you recall or describe any specific projects or initiatives undertaken by mobile power that was made possible through the support of Energy Access Relief Fund?
Yeah, I think the first. Can you remind me when exactly the funding came in? I think it would have been kind of this time last year, I imagine, which I think would tie it into funding the manufacture of the first hubs that we sent to DRC. So starting in a new country is more expensive than continuing an existing one because you need to establish the right relationships. You need to be hiring the first team in those countries. I'm very proud of the fact that mobile power in each of the countries we operate is entirely run by people from those countries. We don't send expats out to tell people how to do things. We hire local people who know exactly what's going on in that context and empower them with capital and technology. So I'm pretty sure that the funding from SIMA gave us the confidence to take that first leap into DRC, to get the manufacturing organized and to really begin to start hiring those staff, hiring those team and putting that in place. Gave us the confidence to know that we could fund that sustainably, that we could promise people that their jobs were for the long term and that they would be coming through. And I think DRC for us is really exciting. There's at least, depending on which stats you read, 80 million off-grid consumers in those markets. Incredibly hard to reach with traditional models, incredibly hard to reach, I think, with solar home systems, although there are some amazing companies, Altec and Nuru, doing some incredible things also with mini grids. But I think the market particularly lends itself to mobile power's model. We can be very light touch. We can launch a hub in just a couple of days. If you can get a vehicle there, then we can launch. And so I think we're really excited about that. And SIMA's pretty sure, I'd have to go and check the numbers, but I'm pretty sure that capital was what gave us the confidence to dive in and get started there.
Right. I got that. Right. So I don't want to get into quantification numbers and stuff like that because it may not prove that valuable at this point because we are developing an impact story separately. So my final question to you will be about Mobile Power's future plans and strategies. So if you can share some insight onto some upcoming innovations or initiatives that Mobile Power is working on and how does the future look, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, I think from a technology perspective, the most exciting thing in the office at the moment is the MOPO Max story, the MOPO Max battery. We've been running e-mobility with MOPO Max in Sierra Leone for some time now. We just started doing e-mobility in Liberia. And we are very close to announcing a partnership with a major solar home system company to finance e-motorbikes in a sustainable way for motorbike taxi riders, Okada riders, as they're called. So that's super exciting for us on the e-mobility front. I think the biggest future potential market for Mobile Power is going to be the generator replacement. So this battery, as I said, works with both e-mobility, which I just talked about, but the generator replacement market is absolutely colossal. The ability to change the way that businesses and customers get reliable access to power is incredible, but also the profitability of this model is really exciting, as well as kicking petrol out of the generator market, where I really think people deserve better. So that's kind of the technology front. I think on the business model innovation front, for a long time we've been kind of seeding and funding projects. We've got 175 hubs. We do roughly 500,000 rentals every month. But we think we can do, many multiples of that, and we've got a really exciting partnership that we'll be announcing in the next few weeks to really pour colossal amounts of capital into launching MOPO Hubs right across the countries that we're operating in at the moment, and that's going to be really exciting. I think not just for Mobile Power, but for the sector as a whole in terms of the scale that we're able to go and reach together.
Right. The future looks. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's really exciting. I think we're excited about things that are going on in the countries that we're operating in, support from governments for the transition that needs to happen, both for people to get access for the first time, but to be moving away from fossil fuels. I think we're really well positioned for that. We're excited about manufacturers that we're beginning to work with that can really help us upscale what we're doing. We just opened new offices in Asia and got new team members joining all the time there with just really exciting technology coming out that we're able to put into the continent for the first time. I think we really see our place as being taking capital and taking technology that's available elsewhere, packaging it and putting it into market appropriate packages ultimately, and putting that into the hands of local entrepreneurs in Sub-Saharan Africa, and then watching things explode, both in terms of impact, but in terms of people's ability to grow their own businesses, to grow their own access to capital. It's been really, I think you're right, exciting to watch that happen, and to build that team out with all of our agents and even our customers really, I think, are becoming part of our team in some ways. I'm definitely excited for what the next decade is going to look like.
Absolutely. We at SIMA are also equally excited about Mobile Power's journey. It's really glad to see the kind of things you're working on and the kind of impact you're creating. So thank you so much for your time today, Luke. I will speak to you soon, and take care.
Thanks so much, and thanks so much for SIMA Fund for putting in the hard miles and getting this funding together and getting it out there into where it makes a difference. Really appreciate you guys.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. All right, that was Luke Burras, the CEO of Mobile Power. We have more exciting entrepreneurs like him coming on this. This is SIMA Impact Chronicles. I will tune back with another episode soon. Take care. Bye-bye.